Sorry, the technical difficulty. Coach K got knocked off from the network, so she'll be coming back real shortly. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. Cool. We'll rock with it when she gets here. Thank you for the heads up. Good evening, morning, or afternoon, pending when you are listening to this. Welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I am Dr. Nakumbe, co-host of Breaking the Chain. We'll be here with Coach K. She'll be up shortly. To my
Sorry.
I'm supposed to say, hey, what's up? What's up?
How are you? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm fabulous. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm well. And please forgive me. I'm supposed to give a shout out to small following, or actually a good following in the Philippines. And I was going to say it in Tagalog. You don't speak Tagalog, do you?
No.
All right.
No.
All right. Well, a shout out to the Filipino fans who've been listening. Thank you. Filipino fans who've been listening. Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate that. Appreciate the comments and the views. And I do hope to one day incorporate some of the language when I'm making some of the points. And I remember also to slow down because English may not be the first language. So to help you understand better. Duly noted. I read the messages. Thank you. Okay. Coach K, how's your week been?
Not bad. How about yours? How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. You know what? Every week, I was thinking about that the other day. Your answers are always like, and so I'm going to see more about how you are doing. Oh, look at that face. Look at that face. I like when you make that face. And I like when you make that. Yeah. Woo! I like that little sassy face you make. That's pretty good.
I know. I'm so expressive. I can't help it.
Woo! What? What? I'm doing okay. I'm managing.
Yeah.
So my apologies for last week. I don't know how far you guys went into the show. I mean, I know you can hold it hold it on your own. But I was doing with some family stuff, and then my way of grieving or processing is actually to kind of just jump right back into what I do. I find a lot of purpose in what I do, and so it's an excellent distraction for me. It's an excellent reminder to as a way to help me stay strong for others. And then I'm a slow griever. It'd be like 6 months later, I'm like, whoa, where's my family? So that's why I was more than willing to jump on last week. But again, thank you and Alexis from Texas for the support and the encouragement and the reminder and the elbow and the kick to say, get out of here. Go be with your family.
We wanted you to definitely be with your family during a loss. So we were like, nope, putting your foot down. We're not doing the show tonight. So
yeah. And the person that we lost, I mean, you find out a lot of things when your family is dealing with stuff. And so the person we actually lost is a very, very, very private person. Had it been their way, it would have been there 10 minutes to say good luck and goodbye and good luck. And that's it. But so I wasn't too, I was close to her, so I wasn't too worried about it. I wasn't feeling any kind of way like, oh, I'm not here long enough for her. So So again, I was just saying, welcome to the network, everyone. And we are talking this week about, because we've been a couple weeks now, talking about the formula. So let's give some shout outs. We have Crystal Light. Oh, thank you for your condolences. Much appreciated. So yeah, Crystal Light's in the house. Black Man Unfiltered's in the house, and we're on his network, of course. And who else do we see? I know CBN is in the back. Alexis from Texas is in the back. And whoever is listening, pending the time that you're listening, again, a shout out to those in the Philippines who've been listening and chiming in and messaging me. Thank you so very much. Coach K, I know you have a following of guys that usually swing through or stop by. So if they do, awesome. We appreciate we appreciate everyone's support. And we thank you for being here.
Yes.
Think. I was gonna say one more thing. Man, I forgot missing 1 week.
Like, I don't know, leave a like. I don't know what if you're going, along the spiel of welcoming in and leave a like on the video.
Absolutely. Yeah, please hit the
like and
button.
subscribe.
Yeah. I want to jump in right away because this topic is the formula part 2, and the goal of today is to load you. I mean, just load you with options. And sometimes we say solutions, but I want to say options tonight because not all of them are going to work for everyone. Maybe none of them will make any sense to you, but we just want to load you up with different options when it comes to. And the formula that we were talking about is, this chaos that we get in our life. Like, how do we get past this trauma? How do we get past these life experiences that have impacted us in such a way that we can't function, or we're functioning but not doing well? So plenty of examples, plenty of different, stories and different things like that. Shout out to Bass is in the house. What's up?
Hey.
We give plenty of examples, but I want to give some options today. So, Coach, are you ready for that?
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
Excellent.
My favorite.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's do it. Just a recap for those who haven't been here for a couple of weeks, or as a refresher. Please remember, when we talk about trauma, it doesn't have to be something where you were beat or verbally abused or anything like that. Think of it as an experience that impacted or left you believing that your safety was in danger. Something about your safety was okay. Here's some examples that we do and we engage in that parents don't even think about. Coach K, have you ever seen, usually a dad does it, have you ever seen a dad or uncle or grandpa or cousin throw a baby up in the air? I mean, catch it, but you know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
You ever see that?
Yeah.
Little did we know that some of those kids go flying in the air and they have that look of
yeah.
But that gets scribed in the brain. Now, not every kid, you could throw 2 up at the same time and hopefully catch them at the same time, but one of the 2, there's potential for one of them to get etched in their subconscious mind, fear. 4 years old, 5 years old, and it's fun, but the kid is thinking fear. Have you ever been in the car with someone who drives fast as a kid? Coach K, you ever been with someone who drives fast?
Yeah.
Okay. As a kid, especially from the back seat, heck, as an adult, from the back seat,
yeah.
But some kids, and you don't always challenge authority, so you're quiet. Now watch the combination. We're talking about like twist tying together. Twist tying, the combination of not challenging authority and enduring the fear. Not challenging the authority and enduring fear at the same time. That gets hardwired into the brain. So what does that look like later at a job 20 years later, where maybe your boss or supervisor or manager is a little rough but I don't want to cause any waves. I don't want to cause any problems. But what if we lose our job? What if you get in trouble? You see, that's a learned behavior of learning to be silent, not challenge, not have any conflict, and endure the fear. So again, we don't put these things together. Procrastination. People move slow into situations, but that's come from somewhere, usually a trauma or an experience. So again, the last few weeks we've been talking about those. So please hit the channel up for the last few weeks if you want to hear more examples. We did Gil a couple of weeks. Remember Gil and Keisha?
I think.
Do you remember the guy knocking at the door? He had the bucket of chicken. He had the 8-piece and the flowers.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah,
I
do remember that.
I know.
Oh, Gil. Yeah.
Gil. But in our current world, they say he's a simp. So when you think about what is a simp, someone who's now usually they're trying to gain, I mean, they're doing something for a relationship. I think the word is just used in general when people are kind or soft. But let's say Coach K, I'm pursuing you, and you've made it very clear, like it's not going to happen. But I'm buying you flowers and I'm buying you candy and I'm showing up and I'm doing different things. It's like, you're simping, trying to, you don't get the signs, do you? But then there are other times when we can have a hardcore conversation and I say, oh, sometimes we forget about the people. I don't know if you saw Big Mama's house when Big Mama said, sometimes we forget about the people. But, you know, and then people are like, dude, you're simping. Or even on some of these panels, I've been on some of the conversations where I'm coming from a humanistic approach, you know, just like people are people, humans, none of us are perfect, but people have had experiences that led them to have their belief and their core belief system. And so my stuff sounds too soft or too general or too, you know, I'm too far on the other side.
Yeah, enabling or whatever it
enabling.
is. Yeah.
Or when we have the conversation about parents, and then if you pick too much of the kids' side, you know, you're too soft on the kids. They need a good whooping. If you go too far on the parents' side, then it's like, wow. So really just you don't feel for the kids, you're not affirming. So it's that fine line where people are again using that word as simp. So let's get into some options. All right. But let's think of some scenarios. Now, people in the audience, you can either help us with some scenarios and we'll just break it down with some options. We'll go right into options, or we can create one. Now, I have a couple of hot button topics that impact the most people. But I want to see if we can get some ideas so it feels real for you. You know, we'll use your real situation or someone you know of. So I'll look over here. I see we have Aels Journey. Christina Watts is in the house. What's up, Isaiah Jr.? Thank you for being here. And if any of you have any ideas or something you want to bring into the mix, let's see. We had a rescue kitten that was afraid of heights, in the sense of you picking her up. Animal example. Yep, that makes sense because not a human per se, but same thing, that fear of flight or falling. And that stuff gets etched in the brain. Now, you know, you go to reach for the kitten or whatever and it's scared. So very real. Thank you, Bass, for bringing that up. Very real situation. Yeah. I'm having fear and I'm a Christian. So fear to me is the devil. So I'm really scared. Okay. Okay. Now let's roll with that. And not, you know, it doesn't have to be about Christina, but anyone who has what they call religious fears. I ask, and Coach K, I don't know how religious you are. Please forgive me. I'm not highly religious. I am spiritual, but I'm not highly religious. So if I say anything wrong, left, far, right, please feel free to correct me. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, I'm Christian, but I'm, you know, I'll.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
Very good.
So pending how we were raised, we're raised to follow a certain belief. And at the time when we're being raised, I mean, how much of it is our belief? We develop a core belief system, but where is it really rooted? Where is it really? I mean, it's rooted in us. And again, I don't know religion because some people say with religion is actually rooted in their God. I've heard people say that, like, no, I knew before I was born, or God knew before I was born. This was who I am. So again, without me, I'm not into
you're good.
Theology, anything like that. So bear with me. But my teaching is if you're raised to be X, Y, and Z, and you're held to be X, Y, and Z, and then you grow in that system. But at some point, if you ever switch, if you ever feel like your belief, like my belief versus how I was raised, and or what society is telling me to do versus how I was raised. And I know the fear of God or the fear of going to hell or the fear of whatever the consequence is based on the religion. And that's what I stick to. But is that issue? Is that what causes people problems? What do you think actually causes people problems?
I think that issue, well, one of many, but I think it does cause problems because, and I will speak sort of in the sense of faith, but also in general, if you're doing something and you don't know the reason you're doing it, I don't think that's a good reason. Like, are you doing it to avoid something, like, you know, with this situation? But it's funny because I was just talking about this with, I do a Bible study, is that, and people can correct me too, but if you're doing it because it looks good or because it's the right thing to do, but you've never really gone to the word, for example, well, you know, is that really the right thing to do? Or is it like a faith-based, you know, I guess, choice? But I think some people, they don't question this is in general, they don't question their beliefs, or they don't know why they believe the things that they do. Lots of times these beliefs are from, you know, that were instilled in us from childhood or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it does. It makes sense. And Grooming and Reviews is here 101. What's up? Glad you are here. Thank you. What? Please hit those like buttons if you're coming in, folks. Thank you. Please hit the like buttons when you're here. So yes, that what you said makes perfect sense. But I'm gonna push just a little bit.
Please do.
Because I'm looking for what is the problem. Because technically, whatever your beliefs are is none of my business. Like if I want you to drink soda, I want you to curse, I want you to go against your belief system. But am I asking you to? Am I saying the words? And there have been people to say it. But am I asking you to go against your beliefs or your religion?
By saying what?
Or anything. I want Christians shouldn't curse. Christians should not curse. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Well, give me something that you've been taught.
I was like, probably, and I curse all the time.
Yeah.
For example, like I guess promiscuity, you know, I guess is one.
Okay.
For example.
Now break that down. Like, what is that exactly?
You know what? Let me think of it. Let me say a simpler one. Worshiping other gods.
Okay. And what's the problem with that?
Because you can't worship two at the same time.
Okay.
Because if you're dividing your time and your attention from one, you're truly not worshiping the one, you know.
Okay. So thank you. Anyone listening, here's what I want to offer. What I heard you say, Coach K.
Yeah.
You can't, and even if you said should not, serve. Okay. So already we have 3 words.
Oh gosh, it should have been
that
more
has
selective.
become the problem. No, I mean, but people don't even
realize. No, go with it.
Those 3 words are more of the problem internally than the person actually serving 2 gods. Can't. So right there's an internal battle with the word can't. Cannot do. Cannot do. If I struggle with peer influence, if I struggle with peer pressure, if I struggle with impression management, if I struggle with saying no, if I'm a yes person, already so we have 5 kind of issues in the background.
Yeah.
I have a hard time saying no. I leap easily for a yes. I don't like to be told I can't do things or that I should not.
Right.
I didn't even touch the comment about faith yet.
Right.
Do you see that? So, so the struggle is like, man, I should practice this. I believe in this, and I'm going to stay to this. I don't want people telling me what I should do. So, but notice, I want my voice. And this is not written in stone, ladies and gentlemen. Just bear with me. I'm good. I'm going off some general, and I always go to the extreme. So for those who've not heard me speak before, please know I go to the extreme, and you can always fall in the middle.
Right.
For the people who struggle with a can't situation,
Mm-hmm.
before they even get to what the actual item is or the actual thing, the struggle is with the can't, or those 5 things I mentioned. For people who have a hard time saying no, then can't, should not, and follow, that's the struggle. And people will start thinking that they need to go address more, become more into the religion and practice more into the faith, become stronger into the faith. And that may be true.
Right.
But I'm suggesting that the struggle is more about feeling trapped as far as like what I can't do, feeling influenced or pressured, feeling it's almost like asking someone to break their virginity.
Mm-hmm.
And they happen to be in love with you. And they want to give you all. Like they don't want to say no. They want to be respectful of themselves. They want to respect everything that goes with what faith says and your virginity and saving it for their partner. But they're torn between that thought and then, lucky for them, not so lucky, when they have a partner that's saying stuff like, I thought you loved me. If you love me, you would. Everyone and their mama is doing it. This is 2023. Why can't we do it? See, that's more of the pressure point. That's more of the thing that would have me feeling like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. That's more of the thing that says, you know what? I'd rather not be in a relationship because I don't like that type of, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this.
People say confrontation. They don't like confrontation.
They don't like confrontation. And
whatever that is.
I mean, there's a whole, because I'm talking about a formula. Well, we are talking about a formula. So it's very easy to, sometimes people just say, it must be this and it must be that. I like to throw a bunch of things into the pot. And even people say that's not all what it is. But sometimes in the background, it is. I was raised in a home where they said, do it our way. I don't like that anymore. Now I'm with someone who's saying they want me to do it their way. Guess what? That's the same thing. I'm still in the situation, still in a connection, still with the connection, still in a relationship that's expecting me, expectation. Woo! That's 3 expectations. It just hit me when I said it. The expectation to stay a virgin in this scenario that I'm given. The expectation from when I was raised, the people who made me, the people who I had to listen to and follow the expectations. And now the new partner, the expectations. 3 levels of expectations. That's what's keeping me feeling overwhelmed. If I surrender to any of these, that's what's leading me to feel like I'm a loser. I'm not strong. I failed God or the higher power. I failed my family. I failed myself. And sometimes people do that self part last. So again, if you look at the larger formula, yes, no person, conflict, avoidant, or they are a fighter. I'm here for it. I'm staying a virgin, blah, 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 blah. And they push people away because they don't want to, people who don't even get into certain situations because they don't want to. Same way, the challenge or the option is to look at, is the problem truly about the religion and the faith and the option that you have to make? Or is it about you don't like people telling you what to do? You don't like having people challenging you? It's hard to say no. It's already hard on my own for me to say no, let alone someone adding to it. And I don't want to fail my higher power. Failing my higher power is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. But does that higher power fight for you? Right? Because, Coach K, if you and I got into a debate and some people start chiming in, you might have some people to take your side, some people take my side. In a situation with a higher power, unless the other person feels it with you, like I can say, come on, man, you gonna help me out here? Right? But I may not feel the support. But if I'm doing my prayers, it may not be about right now in the situation. I can always pray later and feel support, feeling proud that I followed the right command, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. For sure. These are good questions.
Mhm. Let's see, Christina, why are my issues important to me? My father's not in the family. All right. So can I ask same more info here? What do you want to do with your ask? What can I ask? Oh, add. Can I?
Yeah, I
All
think,
right. So can I add? Oh, you can. I mean, we're doing multiple scenarios, but absolutely. And then
yeah.
conflict avoidance. Good point. Yep. All right. So let's pick another. Blaxicons in the house. What's up? Aels Journey. Hello. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. We're going through some scenarios and mentioning the formula of kind of what's in the background of the decisions that we have to make and giving people options. Some people say solutions, but tonight we want to intentionally call it options. There's no one magical solution. All right, let's pick another one. Coach K, what do you think? What's a scenario, situation, real life that we deal with?
Well, I did see someone did put in the chat, Aels Journey said a little bit that how I was mistreated by my older brothers and parents, but I never rose up against them. If I would have, it would have changed my course for better or worse.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yep.
So
I would agree, but let's take out, they say, let's drain the ingredients out of this situation. So I was thinking just now how I was mistreated, but what's mistreated? What is actually the definition of mistreated? What does that mean? Because how one person is treated may not be mistreatment.
that's a good question. Yeah, that's it.
Right?
That's something that I would go towards first.
And even that word, and Coach K, I think I've heard you say this before in coaching. Is it your perception? Is it that person's perception? Is that where's the evidence to it?
Yeah, and also too, let's say that you weren't treated right, and that still is subjective, but again, we can choose to think that that's totally fine. But what do we do with that now? So what does that mean as it relates to who we are? Maybe you said it would change your course for better, for worse. Well, I would say it's okay to ponder, and Dr. Nakumbe, I want you to tell me what you think, but I would argue, but your course is as it is today. So I'm not going to say it's not useful to look at how it could have been different, but let's say you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You did exactly what you were supposed to because that's what you did. How is what happened? How or your actions in that situation maybe benefit you or were for the good, maybe? We can always learn from things too, of course. But I like to ask empowering questions, because if you ask, you're going to get an answer. Whatever you ask your brain, and whatever you think about, you're going to get an answer. So if you ask kind of disempowering questions, you're going to get that answer. But that's just kind of how I would approach it. So what do you think, Dr. Nakumbe?
It's spot on. Because some people are looking for the what if. So because I went this way, and I do believe if I had not accepted certain treatment, if I had not been subjected to certain treatment, I could have had a different course. And for anyone who's been abused or bullied or messed with or challenged or put in position to be the caretaker, everyone gets to go off and have their wives and husbands and significant others, and I had to be the one to take care of mom and dad, and anyone's kind of thrusted into these positions. They wonder. Cinderella wonders if she had not been the one to have to do what she did as that sister, would her life have been different?
Right.
My question is that a comparison? Like, what is the different? Where did we get the idea of different, and what would that different look like? If I didn't get bullied and I wouldn't be so intimidated, I wouldn't be so afraid. Possibly, that's true. But I agree with you. So this is the life. At what point are we accepting the life that we've been giving? Not accepting like the abuse or bullying or the particulars, but at what point are we engaging in accepting what we have and then going with it? But again, not accepting the actual harassment, abuse, bullying, stuff like that. If that makes sense. Because we can't go back in time. That's right. So some of these are visionary questions. The vision is what life would have been like.
Right.
Depending the person, some people really get stuck in that. They stay stuck in the visionary world.
And
some of the greatest. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Some of the greatest. No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Some of the greatest liars in the world are the biggest visionaries in the world. Because, but they're not lying. They're I don't know if you know people who lie so they think they're telling the truth. They believe they are telling the truth, even though they are lying. But for them, that might be how their lens sees the situation.
Right.
That's how they see the situation, or that's how their vision of the world is.
Right. That's
You're
true.
dumb, you're stupid, you're being played. I don't see it that way. That's the hint right there. I don't see it, right? I don't see it that way.
Exactly.
Wake up, look at the
Right.
rest of the world. But when I look at the rest of the world, I look through those same colored lenses.
Right.
Is it really about my view is wrong? What if I'm in survival mode? What if I choose to see it this way because I don't want to deal with those things? Whose reality is it anyway? Whose reality are we dealing with?
That's a good question too. And I do think that sometimes people will choose to see it whatever way, maybe subconsciously, they're looking at it in a way that they think serves them or is because of their survival mode. But our survival mode isn't the same as, let's say, the primitive times of stay safe, away from like lions or whatever, to eat and whatever. But it's like some people don't want to see things because they don't want to maybe process what it is. So they will like be, denial or avoidant. But there's also too, I think, I don't know. Some people do it like knowingly because they want to stay. They don't want to deal with the bad. But then there's other people too, I think, that I don't know. I'm losing my thought.
Oh, no worries.
Keep
I mean,
going.
first of all, let me. I forgot to give the disclaimer.
Yes.
Grooming and reviews. 8 Central Time.
Oh yeah.
So people on the East Coast is 8:35 now. Central.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
8:35. Yeah,
yeah.
Eastern.
What we're speaking of now may appear as in things are so beautiful and smooth and that easy. These are only suggestions, and it takes work to get to these points. It takes work to get to these points. It takes work to get to the point of acceptance. It takes work to get to the point of being able to be honest and accept that honesty. As I was saying, people live their lives so tough. They're so far from being able to live the truth. Usually is an identity thing. How I think I show up in the world, I'm worried about how people perceive me. I'm worried about how I'm identified as. If I'm the weak one in the group, if I'm the fragile link in the group, if I'm the one that's too tall, the one that's too short, the one that's too wide or too thin, I'm more worried about the perception of others. And I'm more caught up in those words than dealing with my truth. If I'm only 5'2", now with surgeries and different things, they can stretch your legs and do, they got some miracle surgeries they can do.
Ugh.
I can get up to about 5'3", 5'4", maybe even taller. Have you heard about those surgeries where they break you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there are things we can do about it, but at some point, where's the acceptance? At some point,
that
when do we
internal
recognize
acceptance.
internal? When do we feel like we've gone too far?
Mm-hmm.
At what point do we feel we? And if we're making changes, not going places, not doing things, not getting involved, staying isolated at home, if we're making choices based on these fears or avoidance, what's that do for the quality of our life? The quality of our life, if we're choosing to avoid, stay away, hide, isolate because of someone else's perception.
And we might then some of our well-being deteriorates because we're isolating and things like that, and we think that we feel this way because of what those people said, or because we're 5'2" or whatever it is.
Right.
And then we feel even worse. So then it's like, oh, it's because of this, not knowing. This goes to the root of the issue, as we've talked about many shows ago, but it always goes back to this. What is the root of, our problem, or the source of the issue, for example?
That isolation is a killer. Again, I want to be clear. There are people who can isolate and they do just fine. The people who live in Alaska, the people who live in different parts of the world, and they do wonderful. They're alone on a healthy mindset. There are people who the identity is so caught into their job, and then if they get laid off, they lose them. There's no sense of purpose, and they lose all sense of identity. The narrative is I'm no good. I'm lost because the job laid me off. Certain relationships, we bonded so tight. A family relationship, a loved one, a friend, and any type of break in that, people get so lost something, and they can't handle it. I'm talking about major depression. Like you no motivation to get up, not even to shower, to take a walk, just paralyzed.
Right.
Day to day, a slow death. And so, but then think about how many people actually go through this loss of a job, your fault or not, loss of a certain relationship, your fault or not, when the pandemic was here. Now the numbers skyrocketed in the numbers of people dealing with depression and utilizing mental health services. And speaking of that, I just wanted to throw this out there for BMU. Here's a stat for you. They were doing, some people were doing research about this whole pandemic and the impact that it's had on people as far as their mental health.
Devastating.
Yeah, devastating. And what they did is some of them did research, and I have to find exactly the names, but I know the research was done. Some people did research where they went into the schools. They said, wow, the schools are empty. What's that doing for the mental health? Now, there are a lot of parents who say they're going to homeschool. So people were going in to do the research and say, "Woo, what's going on with the kids who have to homeschool?" And they were getting answers like, "I'm depressed. I'm alone. I'm afraid. I feel empty. No connection." Private school, you wear a certain uniform. Most schools, private schools, you wear a uniform. Schools where you have to dress every day, well, that's another question in the research. Is if you don't wear the right thing, how many outfits do you go through before you finally pick the right one to go to school or to go to work? How many outfits did you throw on the floor before you have to come back home and put all that stuff away, right? Like how many things did you try on? for school. So you're home now. Yeah, sad. But it must feel good that you don't have to worry about going through uniforms or outfits and trying to impress anyone. And a number of those kids were saying, nah, we'd rather be at school. So then what about then all the clothes changing and feeling like you have to impress? Aren't you happy with yourself? Now here's where it starts to twist. The research is about mental health because of the pandemic, the impact of the pandemic. But when I start switching and adding about, are you not happy with yourself? Do you not like yourself? Do you not like your body?
Mm.
And that gets lumped into the research about people have higher rates of depression and higher deletion rates. But that should have been a different research. That should have been a different
that's a
project.
different variable.
That should have been a different project altogether. But some of the people who did research said, oh, you must be unhappy because you're not being socially, you're not social, not connected as humans. We need some social connection. Yeah, correct. I'm feeling sad about it. And people gained weight. Some people gained weight or lost weight, and then they complain about the way they feel blah. They can't go out anywhere. Some of those numbers of people feeling blah and not liking their body translated to, whoa, see, because this person is not in their right body, the numbers of depression went up. The numbers of wanting to delete went up. And that's being disingenuous. That's not an accurate report. Now, I didn't do the research myself, and I'm more than willing to do some research on it. I haven't done that particular research, but I've heard through colleagues that some of the numbers that were for one thing got put into another. But anyway, that's for a different conversation.
I believe it though.
And
we'll have to talk about this. Go ahead.
I was going to say in 1988, the second adolescent health risk. There were 5 adolescent health risks. Number 2 was self-deletion. Number 1 was homicide. So someone else would kill you, and then the second one was self-deleting. But the numbers have the numbers really gone up, or our hearing about it has gone up? Social media. So did the numbers actually go up? But then again, this piece about mental health and the people being depressed, and then the kids not being in school, and you must be depressed because you're not at school, and the ones who've either gained weight or lost weight, or the influence, you don't have to change clothes, and I'm sure you feel, I feel, and I just rather, and then boom, that helped to spike. All right, so anyway, that's
we should do a show on that at some point about kind of how we talk about mental health in general, because I have a lot of thoughts on that. Because, for example, some of these kids who are considered, are they considered mentally ill, or are they dealing with something that is, let's say, like gaining weight from not moving and stuff like that during the pandemic? Would it be considered a disease, just like, feeling, sometimes depressed, a depressive feeling doesn't mean, you know what I mean? So it's like, even how society talks about it, but then, so that goes into a whole thing. But anyway.
Right. So, but then there's mental health. There's mental health and there's behavioral health. There's certain situations where it's really about the behavior. What do we do when we feel that the situation is really behavioral, the way I respond to things? When we have a lot of choices to make, what are we doing to deal with that? Now, DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, the DI is about more than 1, 2. So it is an actual method to help people learn how to make decisions and to be okay with this. Both things might be right.
That's a good
one.
Both
answers just might be right. Are you mad at me? And you must not love me. Well, here's one. I am mad at you and I still love you. I might not like you right now, but I still love you, and I am mad at you. Both DI, more than one, both are correct. People might want to lock you in, and here's the suggestion: if you are mad at me, then you must not love me. Where's
Right.
that from? Where's that from? Well, you can't possibly be this if you're that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Whoever said that? Who made that rule?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know?
Right, how do you know? Now, could we have had experience? Yes. Could we have observed someone else having that experience and then we personalized it? Yes.
Right.
But I like for people to check it out. One of the options is, how do you check that out? Most people know about a pros and cons list, pro or con. There are more pros or there are more cons. But you know, it's funny. It's almost like buying a new mobile phone or cell phone. It has just enough of this that you want and a bunch of that stuff you don't really need, but I want to get the phone, right? It has the camera system that I want, but it has a bunch of bloatware that I don't want. So sometimes we're going to be in situations where the pros or cons list still is not the best determining factor. So I say, what if you go with that? What if you go with those pros and you go with those cons? But what's the end goal? What is the end goal? I need a phone that would do X, Y, and Z. So would it matter if it had the bloatware? Yes, because it impacts the battery. Well, there you go. So it's about the battery. Your long-term goal, this particular phone, it has the camera and it has the this and that and that, but one of those cons will eat away at the battery and then impact the way you want to use the device. So it's not just so much the pro and the con if it's a good camera or bad camera, as much as what's behind the scenes, what's in the formula that will actually help you obtain your goal.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So then if you map it out, if you put it in a, if you know right. How many people don't know their goal or they're going off of someone else's goals?
Yeah.
Right?
Like, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Do people know how to answer that?
You draw a square. You draw a square, and it's like a T. You put a T there. And then if you look at, well, what are the pros if I continue this route? And what are the cons if I go this route? What are the benefits? The benefits. How does it help me in my long-term goal desire? I say goal is too strong of a word. And I don't mean like, I'm not dumbing it down, but like everything's not a goal. But let's say you have a desire. And you have to make decisions about that desire. But what is the most beneficial route for you to go? And again, die more than one. There might be two answers. I know a couple. One likes to use their phone GPS when they drive. The other one likes to know because they know the town. And whenever the one has the GPS as the passenger and they say, well, I know where I'm going. And both of them have the right direction, or both of them will end up in the same place.
Right.
But is the conflict about, because if I'm your friend, your family, or your loved one, and I'm aiding and assisting by saying, here, and I know her, why was it that? Why did that person take it personal as if I was saying, you don't know where you're going? If we got in the car and I got in the passenger seat and I said, oh, hold on, Coach K, we're going where? 1019 Boulevard. All right, I'm not stupid. I know where I'm going. So again, is the conflict that the device might be right, or is the conflict that the person took it personal? I think people personalizing things is a big problem.
Personalize it because I may do that. I think we all do that. And something that I like to ask myself when I am personalizing it is, for example, in this scenario, for me, there are times where I wait till the last second to tell him when to turn. So it's like, you know what? What am I losing if he wants to use the GPS? Seriously, what am I losing? It's no skin off my back. Because I half the time, even though I know where I'm going, I forget to tell him when to turn.
Right.
Who
cares? But there's a sense of inconvenience. So let me play with that for some. We'll take it off of you. We'll put it just out there in the universe.
Yeah.
So I trust the person But then that extended trust led to some inconvenient times. My trust in not wanting, like, okay, I'm gonna let them drive. I'll let them do what they need to do and want to do. I want them to know I trust them. I'm not trying to be a backseat driver. It's also about control. How much control do they think that I'm trying to take, or how much control do I think I need? The resistance to just not say anything. But it also might boil down to inconvenience. If you missed the stop, if you missed the turn, no worries. But deep inside, if I'm a person who, and then was it if they had just known the address, or was it if I just had said something? So there's that internal battle. I should have said something. No, because I said I was going to be quiet. That's the internal battle, but we projected, in most cases, we project that onto the other person. The problem wasn't that they missed the sign. The problem was inconvenience, and that I didn't say anything. And then the blaming game. What, may I ask you a question? Yeah, what's up? Where the hell are we going? What? You missed the turn like 10 miles ago.
Right.
Well,
like I thought you knew.
Yeah. Now you're lost. Whoa, talking about what? Now you're lost. No, we are lost. You passed the sign with me. You said 10 miles ago? Yeah, we went 10 miles out the way. Well, I thought you knew what you were doing.
That's a fact. That is so real.
There are kids who sit in the passenger seat and watch their parents fall asleep driving. Parents get mad. Maybe hit the look. They look.
Right.
Why didn't you say something? And you know a lot of kids what they say? I thought you knew what you were doing.
Right. That is so real. Even with like authority figures, even like, man.
And the struggle, so hint, here's the option I want for our listeners to consider. Is the problem truly that the driver or the authority figure, the person in uniform, the person who has the title, is it that we really believed that they knew what they were doing and we allowed them to do their thing? Or is the issue that we actually felt restricted, trapped, unaware, unsure, didn't feel comfortable enough to question, might feel like I'm not as smart, not in position to, all those different things that were really about you, but the automatic answer was, well, you thought, see, but that's a telltale right there. I thought you can always ask. When I do group sessions, I remind my clients, I'm the facilitator, but mainly my goal is to kind of keep it like bumper rails. You know, if you go bowling, they put up those bumper rails. My goal is just really to kind of help keep it centered. I'll never forget one of my bosses taught me that. My boss told me, I was like, oh, keep it kind of centered. For those type of groups that are person-centered, not every group is like that, but if you run a person-centered group, you just kind of help bumper rails. It's when you go too far left or too far right that I may, but how would you ever know if you've gone too far left or too far right if I keep jumping in for you? And so those who are sitting there thinking, well, you're the facilitator and I didn't want to step on your toes. How many times in our relationships with teachers and bosses and different people where we thought we didn't want to step on their toes? Did we ever ask? An option I want to throw out there is for you to ask. You don't have to ask in the moment. Ask offline. Ask privately. Coach, if we were about to go on, you know, we're live now, but if we were about to go on, I say, oh, Coach, hey, question. You know, tonight's topic, you're going to be leading, Did you mind if we did that offline? And now I already have the comfort. We go into the show with me knowing. Right. Not me just during the show, like, oh, good point. I want to say something. I don't, and then I'm building up resentments, possibly. Possibly. Not everyone does, but I might have some resentments. I might say this. Oh, can't wait till it's my week. next week I'm gonna cook. Next week is my turn, right?
Right,
But
though.
but then what does that do to us as a team when and I'm all for competition, but when we're on the same mission, but I felt like I really wanted to make a point, but I didn't want to step on your toes, and I'm gonna cook next week, and and it's like, wow, we could have just talked.
We fear like the disconnect, or we fear some type of like, but then what do we create when I'm feeling resentful, of you or whatever, and you're
Absolutely.
going with it, and then I'm also not being present and giving, to the audience. So it's like,
Right,
well, which one's better? People,
right,
honest,
right,
and especially when half the time what we fear will happen when we bring something up, actually there's a
right,
chance it won't happen.
right.
Dr. Nakumbe is
Or
going to be fine if I
right,
bring it up.
yes.
Or,
And
yeah,
that's for
or maybe
me
not.
to kind of go through that. I mean, is that your
Right.
responsibility to manage that for me?
Nope.
And what if, and I just glanced at J Speed, OG's in the house. Welcome, welcome. He says some of these things are just life. Like that's something I'm going to have to deal with. We've gotten very, very sensitive. But my
Yes.
question is, why not let me? Who was that earlier? Was that Abel that said their life, their previous life, their younger life, or before, the way they were
Yeah.
treated led them to be the way that they are. So who's to say that some of the experiences are not natural and actually aid in me being who I am, toughening up, so on and so on and so on. A lot of times as parents, when we rescue kids, when we rescue them from certain things, and I don't mean like a car out in the street, the kid is running in the street.
Right.
That's not
Right.
what I'm talking about.
No.
I'm talking about from the young age all the way to the elderly. A bottle of ketchup or a packet of ketchup. Take a 5, 6, 7-year-old and you want to do it for them. At what point do they get to test kind of how they open the ketchup? You have that 80, 90-year-old where they could barely open a bottle of ketchup and we want to do it for them. But how do we know if that doesn't feel for them like they're losing their independence?
Right.
They're being presented as weak when they've been known to be so strong for so long. And is that really about, if that elderly person did not ask for help, was that about them needing help or us feeling like I feel compelled? And you're feeling compelled may not actually be what helped to keep them feeling like they're still capable or they have a sense of purpose.
Yep.
And then on the youth side, how long do we let them go? And eventually they feel handicapped or slowed, or they get used to the authority figure being in charge and that they don't have any say. One of the greatest challenges, Coach K, I deal with in my clients is that they've become so whatever because they finally felt that they had a voice and a choice. Oh, you just snapped out for what? Because, man, folks don't be listening to me. Did you feel that matched this situation? You're in class and you just thought you would, because what? No, because in that class, you don't understand, Doc. So-and-so student, they get all the, I was going to be heard this time. I finally have a voice. So back to, based on how we're raised, we might feel like we didn't have opportunity, we didn't have chance, and now I'm going to take it at any cost. At any cost. And what does that do for us? I think I saw Abel had a comment as well. Dragonflies in the house. Welcome. Be loved.
Hey.
Hello is in the house.
Be
Welcome.
loved.
Thank you for being here. Please, if you've just gotten here, see that we have 8 watchers. If you can hit the like button on your way in, we greatly appreciate it. If you can hit the like button, I'd be greatly appreciated. Or at least on my end is 8 or 13 now. Excuse me. So I thought I saw a comment by Abel also that sometimes follows us into adulthood. I once had a manager and district manager try to bully me into accepting their foul behavior. So here's again another option. Coach K, can I bully you? What does it mean to bully you? What do you think that means? What's a good way that you would feel, what's not a good way? What could I do to you that would you would feel bullied?
In the workplace, should we say?
Anywhere.
I know it should be in it, yeah. I guess
Oh,
picking on me, but what does that mean? I would say maybe calling me names, putting me down, I guess. Just always having something to say, let's say, to whatever I do.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we'll
So
say that.
for any of us that have that, I don't like to be called names and I don't like to be put down either. I start to look at patterns. So one of the things I would invite people to do, here's an option. Look at the patterns. How many independent people are saying the same thing? How many independent people are saying the same thing, to the point where you might want to take a look at what the behavior is? I'm not talking about a committee where a bunch of people had a committee meeting against you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the one who has to move from their apartment 3 times in a year because the landlord wouldn't take cash payment. They, screw them. They wouldn't take cash, and I don't want to be there anymore. The other place, they had roaches, and I'm not going to let my stuff get in the roach. So you moved. Yeah. Well, okay. That's a good one. But what about the other one? We just didn't get along. I just moved. Huh. And that might be true for them. They don't like those experiences and they have the options of moving. But then when it becomes a problem, we moved and it caused me to switch school districts for the kids. We moved and I had to now put on extra miles to get to work. We moved to an area where it seems like the neighbors like, ooh, and I was wondering, why did you leave before? I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel liked. I didn't feel accepted. I didn't feel appreciated. I. And I wonder sometimes if we reduce the I, would we, again, I'm not talking about stay in an abusive situation. If your landlord doesn't take cash and you can't get one of those Go Express credit cards or whatever, they don't take cash, then move. But before we make big changes, I wonder what small changes we can do. What small things can we adopt so then the big things don't impact us, or we won't be impacted in such a big way, if that makes sense.
And I would add to that, that's so important. And I love what you said there. Because we do have an option there. And we can exercise those moves first before we make such a big move. Because let's say you do, because there's going to be problems at the other place too,
Right.
Unforeseen, but there will be. So what's going on here? Let's talk about what is this situation, and are we looking at what are the facts, and how do we know? I will always question my clients what they tell me, because sometimes what we believe is a fact is not a fact. But if it were to be a fact, well, then we can't do anything about it.
Right.
And then we feel helpless and then we have to move. But what if the things that you thought were a fact actually aren't? And maybe it's your interpretation, and we could have an alternative interpretation. Or we could maybe just, this person isn't nice and they don't accept you, but maybe we can let them be and kind of manage our thinking around it to be okay with it for now, because our kids are in a good school district and they have friends, and it's not that bad to deal with the fallout of moving.
Right. Work that muscle of going through the problem, growing through, enduring and going through. Sometimes I would challenge a client and say, well, let's pretend you can't move. Now what?
Ooh.
You can't move. I mean, not because I say so, but lock it down as in you don't have the conveniences, you don't have the support, you don't have the resources. You cannot move. Now what is your option? You might be lucky enough to have the resources. You might feel entitled enough that it's owed to you and you're just going to make these decisions. You don't care. You're moving away from a family member. You're breaking up your family because you decided so. What if you're in a situation where you absolutely don't have the flexibility, you don't have the capacity, you don't have the resources, how do you learn to tolerate, adjust, and deal with?
How do you learn how to open up the ketchup packet? Right? That kind
You
of
get
thing.
hungry enough, right? If you get hungry enough, you'll find some creative ways using your teeth or if the bottle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I watch
Well,
old
listen,
folks. You ever watch old folks sometimes? Where they
oh
just
man.
like, what do you? Hey, I got it open, didn't I?
Yeah, but it's not safe, but sure,
Right,
whatever.
right. But again, how we value safety.
That's a good
If I'm
point.
in the last trimester of my life, who's safety? And if you're a 24-year-old,
Mm,
your version of safety at 24 and my version of safety at 90.
that's a good point. That is a great point.
Yeah, your version of being too busy. You need to slow down. Woo, you're just so busy. Versus the 90-year-old busy, but they're retired, not doing anything. But they get exhausted just looking at you. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Now where are you going? Now what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you
Oh
on your
my
phone?
God.
Every time you keep looking at your. If I grew up in the day where the phone barely rang, or if it did, if you dialed out, it took 10 minutes to dial out, and then you
Mm-hmm.
just click the button. See, wait a second, you go too fast. Now you move too. So
Mm-hmm.
your version of safety might be different for another
Mm-hmm.
person. A person who's had trauma or an adverse experience, their version of safety might not be the same. If your wife or husband, because men or non-gender, but your men get abused as well. But I guess I don't want to stay too traditional, but I'm gonna do the traditional. You know how many wives are not having sex with their husband, not because they don't want to have sex, but because of a previous experience that was
Mm.
unresolved. But there's no communication. So the husband thinks that the wife is not, and then she's tolerating. But almost back to what you were saying, Coach. On which end do you learn to tolerate? So there was no communication about it because she didn't want to have the argument or feel like she's a failure. And then on this end, she's dealing with feeling like she's a failure or having to deal with the torture of staying in the situation to deal with this, So either way, on either end, I was
That's
just talking to
heavy.
Hink. Yes, I was. I was just talking to Hink in the basement about,
Yeah.
he warns men,
He's in
get
the
your
chat.
prostate. Oh, what's up? Oh, Hank's in the chat.
Oh, I thought
Man,
you were saying that because
no, this is
oh,
totally coincidental. Totally coincidental. Hey,
that's
what's up, Hank?
funny.
Man, I
Hey.
must have felt it. I must have felt it. But I was
Yeah,
just about to
yeah.
say, I just finished talking to him about how he suggests men get their prostate checked. And
Mm,
I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. What if the doctor has one of them big NFL sausage knuckles? I'm not dealing with that.
right,
And having
right.
to pull my pants down and being exposed. And then the ones who don't get checked and then they have complications and now they need the diapers changed.
Knuckles or diaper? Possible knuckle, by the way. I mean, we always tell ourselves the worst case scenario, but still, like,
Right.
that's a great scenario. Yeah.
So here's what I want to throw out there as an option. Folks, think about how you are envisioning these things. If you come from a home or environment, because Coach, I want us to consider there's an environmental piece, there's a DNA, like what your family is
Genetic.
about, the generational
Yeah.
piece, and all of what you're about. So environment, what you're about, and then I'm also going to add technology. More technology these days adds to the influence, adds to the messaging, adds to the influence, adds to the messaging. And I think also dumbs us down. And I'll get to that in a second too. So if your environment over here has always been men don't cry, women do this and women do that, and men don't do this and men don't do that. At some point, because you're so subscribed to that, you'll start to deny certain things, and either you'll feel like you're getting left behind, or you'll say with confidence, I don't care. I'm not getting one of those new phones. I'm not signing up for the new thing. Some folks are going to be listening in everything. They're going to be listening into everything I say. I'm not putting, what's that, like the Google stuff, like your home, Google Home or whatever. I'm not putting that in because people might rob me. I'm not putting the doorbell thing in with the camera on it because people might rob me. And then there's the total opposite. Let's hook it all up. I can see my house during the day. I can see who's at the door. You know, if you drop off Amazon and try to run. But again, what is that about, these decisions? And then how do we respect those people and those decisions if we're making it about us? So another option, are we able to suspend? Are we able to resist making it about us? Even if you say, I've had to grow up and I had to make it about me when growing up. I had to in order to survive. The good and the bad. Coach, if I'm using old coping skills, if I'm using old strategies, so when I had to survive, am I in that situation now? Am I utilizing the skills that I had to use before, but I have all these conveniences and I need none of those coping skills, none of them. And I think that impacts the way we do things. It impacts the way we do things. Technology, I'm going to use another example of how the old impacts the new. Now, in my day, if you wanted to watch Corn, they had these Cinemax channels and stuff, and if your parents didn't subscribe to the channel, back then, those were subscriptions.
Right.
You know, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, all those, they showed sports for free. Sports for free. The subscriptions were to like the Cinemax, HBO, Showtime, stuff like that. But anyway, you're trying to catch a nipple in the wiggly lines, okay?
Right.
Butt cheek or whatever, okay.
Yeah.
But the progression, like me thinking sexual, that progression was slow. The access to it, I wasn't being flooded. My brain wasn't being flooded with it. I may have tried to go see it every day, but my brain wasn't being flooded. The old, you go into the new, and it starts as curiosity because now I can type in chicken and something comes up. I can type up boob and boom, the whole internet lights up for me.
Yep.
But going from struggling to see it and slowly receiving it to now even just a click of a few buttons and then boom. And my sensories, my eyes, where our sensories are, our data collectors, one of our data collectors, our sensory sensors is being flooded. Click, 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 click. Now, I don't want to get people too worked up about who doesn't know about Corn and who does. And I'm sure we have some listeners who've never even heard of it or seen it, and that's great. Back in the day, there were long, like feature films, had music. Yeah. They had the star's name and stuff, starring Susanna and and Billy Wonka. They had the names and stuff, and there was a full music and talking and discussion. I don't want to discuss it anymore. And then they pull them around. Come here. And then the scene goes from there. But the industry got with psychologists. The industry got with psychologists and said, must be a better way. And I don't know if, and if you watch YouTube or some of these things where they show the graphs, most watched, most rewind, most.
Replay or whatever.
Said, look at this. Look at this. The 3-minute mark. And oh man, thank you. Sorry, give the shout out. You want
Hey, yeah, so Hink, $2 super chat says just dropping something in the collection plate. Thanks, Hink. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you. We'll have to get BMU or Alexis from Texas to play our Cash App or super chat tune, whatever it is. But right after
you're
at this point. So the full feature, now the psychologists met and they looked at the scenes that are most watched. They take the best of the beginning, which may not be all that dialogue. They take the dialogue out And some
Yeah.
people like to watch the undressing,
Right.
and some don't. They want to start right now, right away. You're naked. Now remember, back in the
Right.
day, when you were trying to get if you caught a nipple, that means they were already naked. So I'm already going into this like, yeah, I want to start when they're. See, I'm bringing this in. I'm already
Right.
coming with, yeah, where's the nipple? So boom, they take a 2-hour feature and now they're down to like 15-second clips. Is from what I hear. So, but anyway, so what I hear. But they make them now down to 15-second clips.
Right.
And you get the best of the beginning, or whatever that is, the kissing and the oral and all that. Then you get the best of the penetration. And then you get the best of
Right.
the end, all lumped
Yep.
in a 15-second clip. Now you get a line pending the hub that you go to or the channel that you go to.
Mm-hmm.
You know how we have a network here? So a
Right.
network, right? And you can get baseball. I mean, you can get sports, you can get this, you can get that. So same thing, you get this hub. Remember, the sensory is being fed. And
Yep.
it's sensory overload. Sensory overload. People don't even realize, especially during the pandemic, YouTube and all these different things that people are just watching. Sensory overload. And carving these pathways in their brain. When they used to be able to stay up to midnight, now they get sleepy around 9 because they're so exhausted, they don't even realize it. They're so exhausted because of the sensory overload. And then and for those out there, you don't need to, add into the chat and raise your hand, but for those who actually get into that game playing and the watching of the corn, it used to be where they could watch a 2-hour feature, 1-hour feature, 30-minute feature, without going to the bathroom. And now, in the middle of a 15-second clip, they're already looking for the next one. In the middle, so that means about the 7th second, or 15 seconds, yeah. Let's say minutes or seconds. In the 15 seconds, by the 7th second, they're already looking at the next, like they're already going into the next clip. I mean, it's almost like ADHD. Like you can't even maintain 15 seconds before a switch and switch and switch and switch. And where do you think that behavior goes? It goes into your romantic relationships, where it's not enough, is not enough. Inadequacy is never enough, is never enough, is never enough. It goes into you at work. Can't stay focused on the project. All right, I'm gonna get this done. All right, hold on for a second. Let me check the sports. Oh, let me wait a second. Did I get an email? Click, click, click. And it is impacting the way we're able to do things. Again, we're talking about the formula. What are all the ingredients? It's so imperative that we look at all of the things that it could be, not just lock in on the one. We just lock in on the one reason. And sometimes it's accurate, but it's not the full picture. We throw another option out there. Pending how you feel, and CBT, so cognitive behavior therapy, they're going to teach you to think about how you think about something, the way it makes you feel, and then the behavior that you're going to have. And I say you can go in any order. You can look at something, and then based on what you see, you're going to act on it. And then when you act on it, you're going to have a thought about it. So I say you can go in any order, but they say think, act. So one of the options I want people to think about is, why do you do what you do? Why do you stay in relationships that are not fulfilling? Why do you stay at the job where you know you're not getting the value that you're worth? Why do we do what we do? There's a reason behind every behavior, but why do we do what we do?
That's a great question.
Why do we do? We'll bitch and complain, but we'll stay. Why? It's security. What is security? What's the security? I work with parents.
The same. The sameness.
Oh, the sameness. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh,
things being the same. Familiarity.
Right. Again, I was just talking to Hink in the basement about this. And I actually have 2 points. I'm going to write this one down so I don't forget. So let's go with the same because I already forgot what the other one was.
Oh,
Right, so
squirrel.
same. Yeah. All right, so here's the same. I was just telling Hank that in relationships, some people rather deal with the asshole because the asshole is consistent. What about that person who's going to treat you well? Now, some people say, because I have not been treated well, I don't know how to be with someone because I haven't had a good person. I challenge that. I say the first relationship is your real relationship. But your first relationship is usually with your parent. I don't mean romantic. I didn't say your first time having intercourse. I'm talking about the first, how do I communicate? How do I connect? And if those relationships in the beginning were rocky, most likely they'll be rocky throughout until you make some changes or you adjust. If they were nice, if you had any disconnect in any of those relationships in the beginning, you moved because your parent got a new job. That disconnect from the friends, the school, something good, favorable, your favorite holiday spent with so-and-so, neighborhood dog, cat, whatever that was good for you. It feels like a sense of betrayal when you move away. Depending how the person operates and their brain works, they can actually lock on to that. And then when they start getting into these relationships, they'll get a knucklehead or two. And then that, in their mind, that's their starting point. See, that's why I don't get into relationships, because of that one. See, that last wife I had, that last so-and-so that I had, that's why I don't do it. When I got cheated, ever since I got cheated on, no way, I don't trust anybody. Ever since I don't trust anybody. But here's my challenge, and it doesn't mean this is the only way. Here's what I want to throw out there. If your internal protector does not want you to get burned again, if your internal protector does not want you to be abandoned again, if your internal protector is looking out for you, then when you do find that special one, your internal protector most likely will help you sabotage it to help you avoid from getting in a situation where you possibly could be abandoned again. No one stays. Nothing is forever. Flowers. People can't even accept flowers because the flowers will die. Give me the cash. Right? Don't give me the flowers. Give me the cash. And I argue and say, well, yeah, you might have had some bad experiences. Why do you choose to stay? But those people are consistent. And in fact, some people make it a real strategy. I know when you're going to want to hit me. I know as long as I stay, whatever will be good. I know when you get drunk or high or whatever, that's when you, as long as I stay away. So they rather work that dance and be strategic, but is consistent, than deal with the fear of having something good leave.
Right.
And it spills over into everything. The job, I can get a new job promotion. You ever know someone, Coach K, that should be way in a different area, but they say I'm at where I belong? And some of them truly are, right? I saw that in the movie Top Gun. He really was where he belonged.
Right.
In the planes and stuff. That was his gig. I say I'm where I belong. I don't know about you, but when I look at my credentials, sometimes I get a little sad. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I should be writing my own ticket anywhere.
Well, what does that mean?
That part of beating myself up is like, wow. First of all, if you're honest with yourself, and I've always talked about honesty, but I'm gonna pull a Sean Bowen and say, listen, he talks about honesty. At the end of it is all about being honest. When I get honest with myself about all the credentials I have, and I realize it came from inadequacy, feeling like I never had enough. You finally get that thing, it's like, oh, it's not enough.
Well, that's kind of
Oh,
like that's the same example of the corn.
right. Oh,
I mean, it's a
yes.
different, you know what I mean? It's a
It's
different,
never enough. It's feed, 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 never enough, never enough. And
yeah.
then we want to try some of those things in the vision, the stuff that we see. We want to take that into the relationship.
Yeah.
And we're with a partner that doesn't get down with that stuff. You want to put it where? No, I'm good. Well, try it on
Yeah.
yourself. Put it, see if you can dot your own eye. So,
But
but
with your
inadequacy.
credentials, keep going though. With your
Yeah, so
credentials,
you get a
like
degree.
wanting more
You
and
get a
more.
degree. Well, now I have some other layers. The formula for me, I had to add some other ingredients. I'm a Black man in a society that says you have all the rights and you have all the abilities and you have all the support and you have all the resources just like anyone else. That's what's said on the outside. But
Mm-hmm.
my family has been conditioned to believe, no, it doesn't work like that. They didn't just wake up with that condition. They lived that condition. They lived that no matter how hard we work. There were Black families on farms that weren't
Right.
asking for anything, doing their own work, not asking for a dime, only to find out later they were getting 10% of one thing while the others were getting another. So they've been conditioned. And here I come and say, no, I have a chance like anyone else, and I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. Now, I utilize a lot of support. I never planned to go as high. In fact, my thought was, as a drug counselor, my career, you could actually be a drug counselor based on experience. So there were some that
Oh.
weren't licensed. They were actually in recovery and they became drug and alcohol counselors. I
Mm.
didn't have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, people wanted to push me out of the work. What? You don't know what it's like to be here. You don't know what it's like to
Mm.
be here. But no, but wait for a second, wait for a second, wait for a second. Why are people coming to you for help? To be sober. I'm gonna ask again, why are people coming to you for help? To be sober. People are coming to you for solutions. People are coming to you for coping strategies. People are going to treatment to get their beauty rest. How are you drinking and popping and stuff and doing pills and all that for 10 years and then you're gonna go somewhere for 15 days and heal? It doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work
Right.
like that. People came for a break. People came because the court said so. People came because their family said, you got to do something. You got to do something. It's only 2% out of 100 that actually go because they want the help. If you line up 100 people, survey says only 2 out of those 100 people will actually say, yes, I want to go into treatment. The others want temporary relief. You hear about the porcelain god vomiting over that. Oh, what do people say? Oh, I'll never do this again. Oh, please. I'll just get me through the night. Oh, please. You ever see a man who's been ever talk to a man who's been at the birth of his child? Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah.
They see that thing stretch, oh, and bleed.
Yeah.
And some moms, they push and everything comes out, every hole. And the
Oh
minute is
yeah, I
like,
have heard about that.
oh,
Yeah.
whoa. And then there's the placenta, that big bowling ball that comes out, and they didn't know about that part. They just happen to still be watching. And all of a sudden that bowling ball comes out. They're like, oh, I'm never touching it again.
Right.
Right? 6 kids later. So
Right.
we
Right. That's funny.
um anyway, sorry, I distracted myself. So anyway,
No, that's funny though.
perception and actually I forgot my thought. Oh, so same. So I wonder if people are wanting to avoid something in hopes of like this one piece. It's only that one piece they wanted to avoid. Can you have the rest? I wanted to avoid being seen as an imposter. I
Mm.
wanted to avoid feeling like I'm not enough. No, I have my degrees. I have mine. And I'll keep going and keep going and keep going. Some of my best friends were like, yeah, when we're not going through this with you again. I mean, more money, more money. You know, now I'm 300,000 in the hole for these degrees where people have a high school diploma making more money than me.
Right.
But again, if you look at your potential, who's holding you back? But when I talk about those layers, I say one as a black man. But if I let that limit me, and then do I have to be in the pockets where being black, because it's a real thing, there are some limitations, but at the same time, there are places where whoever has it, you go get it. So I can't use the race. And people don't like when I say this, and I'm cool with it. I understand. But some clients that come in for treatment and they bring the race card, I said, well, here's what I need you to do. Here's what I would like you to do. I'd like you to think about the problems that you're bringing up or you're presenting about the race. And we're like, oh, the white man and this and that, and the problems and the problems. And when did that start? Oh, I remember as far as when I was 18, 16, I heard about my parents and they were dealing with it. But if you remember the root analysis thing that I do, when I ask them the ages of 4 through 7, tell me about the race stuff. No, it wasn't happening then. What'd you say? Now, again, I'm not saying they didn't have any issues. It was their parents that had to deal with it. But for the person who's saying yes is about a race issue, this one thing, the reason I, if we do a root analysis, here's one client. His mom, African American, married to a Caucasian, lived in California. They got a better job in North Carolina. California to North Carolina. This kid grew up talking about he hates white people because he made my mom make a change and I had to abandon my friends. Ooh, that's tough. So you hate white people. And so tell me the earliest problem that you had. Well, just before that move, he forgot this part. It wasn't so much they got a better job as why they moved. They got child protection involved in the home for the elderly, for the other kid. And after that happened, the dad said, no, we're gone. No one's coming up in our home telling us what we can do and can't do. So he looked for a job, got another job, moved across the nation. This kid locked on to the fact that it was a white man that made his mom do something. But only to find out that the experience before that he knew about. Oh, yeah, I remember that time. Yeah, oh, man, our family was hot. And my dad, I thought he was going to kill everybody. What? The white guy? Yeah, he's going to kill it. But you just said he was, no, in that situation. Oh. So then I said, well, I want you to first learn how to heal and then put your blackness back on, because that's another whole layer you're going to have to deal with. The women, I want you to learn how to heal and then put your woman issues back on. I want you to learn how to heal and then approach a person for a husband or whatever you're going to do. When you learn how to heal, so here's what I offer to the audience. Learn how to heal the actual problem, then address the next layer. Learn how to resolve that, then address the next layer. Learn how to address that, then add the next layer. There's some people who have layer beyond above layer and layer and layer. And so now if you talk to a white man who's saying, wow, look how I'm being treated. So now he's losing the job and he's being told he's misogynistic and he's told that he's not liked. And then he comes to see me. He's like, well, I don't know if you're the right one. I feel kind of stupid talking to you about my white problems.
Right.
Yeah, you should feel foolish coming to talk about some white problems. But what? Come on, but let's go. What is it? Let's go. And then when we break it down, is it a white problem? Oh, I feel like we've lost control. And I've always been I've been one of the good ones. So pause. Let's put the race to the side for a moment. As a person, you felt like you've been given back. Yep. As a person, you feel like you've been, yep. And when you say you've been one of the good ones, so that means you knew there were some bad ones. Yep. And so now you feel what? Because you're getting roped in all together. It's unfair. And then what else about that? And on his own, he's like, well, should I really even talk about what's unfair? I know what you went through. Do you know what I went through? I know what your people went through. So he's holding on to guilt. He's holding on to shame, holding on to these different things. And adding to that his belief that this, and his belief in that, and his belief in, hey, sometimes in life you got to roll with it, right? Roll
Right.
with it. When we take on
Right.
all these extra pieces in the formula that probably aren't ours, they're not ours, it doesn't belong to us, or put that layer on after you first, when you bake a cake or when you make these things that are layered, in order
Right.
to make sure the deep inside is fully cooked before you put the other layers on. Make sure this layer of frosting is evenly whatever before you put the next layer on. So to be clear, because there'll be someone out there to say, "Oh my gosh, he said don't be black." And that's not what I said. I'm
Right.
saying
Don't even do
look,
that. Don't do
yeah,
that.
look at what the layers are and see how you can address those first. If you're an introvert and then someone is saying, "Man, you're never gonna get in a relationship," and you're out there trying to prove that you'll be in a relationship, only to find out the reality is I'm still an introvert. I've never liked people, but you secured, now you're in this marriage, but you've never liked people. And that's another thing. We talk about our problems. Here's another offer, another option about communication. Coach K, we have to be able to talk about some of our pain points that I'm going to be bringing to the relationship. We should talk about the pain points. There's a difference between being vulnerable to you and have you throw that in my face versus addressing pain points that are going to impact you in the relationship. You have a lot of friends, and in the beginning, because I want to secure the relationship, I'm like, go have fun. Oh, yeah. Oh, your friends and your friends. But deep inside, I'm like, because but I feel intimidated by your friends. I keep thinking I'm going to lose you to the friends. See the different ingredients? See how we're adding this formula? It's not just 2 + 2 = 4. It's 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 is how we're getting to 4.
Right.
And at some point, I'm building hostility towards your friend. But I haven't talked to you about it. And then when I do talk to you about it, how does that come out? Did I bring into the situation? Did I tell you up front that I'm a control freak? Did I tell you up front I'm one-sided? I don't want you going out with your friends, but I'm going to be going out with mine. I tell you that. Did we have those conversations? Did I tell you once I secure the relationship, I'm actually going to lock you in the cabin? Not literally lock you in the cabin, but I'm going to secure you, mama, kids. I'm going to secure you, but I still need to be out and about. Did we have those conversations? Now you feel like, wow, I get no attention. You're out and about. You just get to do what you want to do. How does that work? Easy. What do you mean? How does it work? Did I tell you about my addiction? Did I tell you those things? Right. And that's a grand question. When do we tell a person about our mental health? When do we tell them about any addictions or addiction? When? But it's years into the marriage that now, the love making started at 7. We got done at 7:04, and then I go in the computer room for 5 hours. I'm telling you, I'm just in there checking email and stuff. I don't want you to come in the office area. I'm down in the basement all day in the basement. Don't want you on the computer. Don't want you touching stuff. It's impacting the relationship. You don't know if it's because you gained weight, lost weight, something happened. I don't like him. You don't know, and it's driving you bonkers. And it's impacting the relationship. It's impacting the family. And by the time you say to the kids, "Say your daddy ain't shit," now I'm upset because you're saying that. Because in my mind, I don't see what the big deal is, what the problem is. In fact, I've been sparing you. I've been staying out the way. I've been down in the
Right.
office minding my own business. Why would you even say that to the kids? We used to eat as a family. Now you don't even come up anymore, but I'm home. So I think it's very, very important that we communicate, and we don't have to be the same. Right? Because when we start talking about dating, not only out of our race, but even different countries. So I'm dating someone totally different that has a totally different mindset. And if you're most most Americans that I know, we try and convince the others to change their mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are still virgins at 30? Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Is that bad? Yeah. We try and get it done by 10.
Shit, right.
I've been talking a lot. Let's see what's going on over here. I said 8:30. I don't know if you saw that, Coach. I don't know if who was it, Grooming? I don't know if Grooming is still with us. Lost in Translation is in the house. What's up, Lost in Translation?
Hey.
Again, we do have the lines open if people want to come up. Now, in case Simon is out there, listen, if people come up here, all we're doing is processing. Some say solutions. We're only coming up with options. If you're coming up with some wild story or some add this and turn it far right and talk about how you did it and when the thing you did, and we won't be doing that show tonight. All we're doing is sticking to, like, if you have a situation or a scenario, let's bust it up to talk about some of those options.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, while we're letting go, the process of letting go, what do you think about that, Coach K? Are you able to let go of things?
Yes. I mean, yes and no. I think I'll say that I have, but it's still, but I'll let it still bother me. Or I'll have that cognitive dissonance where it's like, yeah, but it's not supposed to be this way. For example, well, have I let it go if I'm still, pushing back against the way things are, that type of thing.
Right.
I don't think we know how to let go. Yeah.
Right.
How do you?
Right.
How do you?
You just said, I think we say it, we want to, but do we know how to? And if you go off if you go off anything that I'm saying tonight, what if the hook, you see this thing here, and I know this is
like a
net,
basketball nut.
Yeah. See these hooks?
Yeah.
What if what we think is the hook, so we unhook here, not realizing the hook is over here somewhere? We're talking about letting go. See, when I put this on, I put the two hooks here, and then I finally say, you're right, Coach, I got to let it go. I got to let it go.
Oh, but you're still hooked,
this is, And if I know it or don't, let me give you an example. I'm going to make it actually for you and I. Sometimes we both end up like, no, you go, you go. But then if I really push and say, no, go. Man, if your looks kill, I
know.
Now, I say, Coach just wants you to go. She just wants you to go. But in my mind, I believe that's something you're not going to change. And so I say I'm going to let it go. I say I'm going to let it go. Dude, don't make it a big deal. You already know. If you already know that's how she's going to be, then you just go.
Right.
But why do I always have to be the one to go? Here we go, right? Here's the hostility. Because now I said I was going to let go, and I really did. I'm like, no, okay. If you already know, in fact, wasn't I just saying that earlier? If you already know, then you should. So in my mind, I'm letting it go. I know she's going to make the face. Just avoid it. Just go. But the tug is that, why do I always have to be the one? No. She can go. And sometimes we end up putting it right back. And then even doubling down on the hook. We double down. Next time she says, you go. No, you go.
Right. Right. That's a great illustration. Yeah.
And so a lot of times we're hooked into things and we don't always recognize how many hooks, the formula, how many different pieces there are to this. We make agreements. We make an agreement, but then we feel played. We feel trapped. And people who some people process things right on the spot. Some, give me a minute, I'll get this done by tomorrow. Wait, what the hell what did she say? I gotta think about this shit for a second. And I never really did I never let it go.
Right.
And I might be waiting when you're like, dude, you still have to, yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about, yeah, oh yeah, we got to talk. Oh yeah, I got something for your ass. Now,
Right.
next time, it's like, whoa, what's all this about?
Right. Right. That's so true.
All right.
Especially relationships. That is so true.
Yeah. It's fascinating. I mean, who takes time to think about it? You know, as much as I might be on point, but it's like, God damn, man, you just sit around and think about thinking about all that stuff. Like, woo, that's too tiring, man. Like, why you just be normal, right? Just is it? But
We can't.
remember these sensors times 5. The way we see things, smells. You ever had is it not deja vu? You ever had a euphoric recall? Grandma's cookies. Touch. You know, if I did, you know, people who do meth, it takes 18 months. 18 months to clear the brain. Remember, treatment is 30 days. It takes 18 months of sobriety to clear the brain.
Like being like clean from
Clean.
the input.
No crumbs.
Ugh.
Treatment was 45 days. It takes 18 months. Yeah, I was chucking myself with the net. That's how. Yeah. 18 months. So do you know I still have in my system when I get out of treatment. But when I go to do my buy, we say I have money. I don't have no cash. Look at that. Throwing some cash. I don't have.
Oh, you carry cash.
But no, I normally carry like a $1 or $2 for the person out there holding the sign. I ask him, can I buy the sign?
By what side?
We'll work for food. That way, when I come back over there, they're not holding up the sign anymore. I paid for it and drove off. All right, so now I have this card. This is what it's because you have a sign. Will work for food now, or I want to, or help me. I said, I'll buy the sign from you.
Oh, okay.
How bad do you want the dollar? See, the sign gets them more money.
That's a good point.
Anyway, that's another whole psychological. I don't even like that's messed up, but I do my.
That is actually interesting. That is actually interesting, though. But
well, you know, I give my fair share given, but the problem is, at what point do you set your boundaries and say, yeah, I'm out here working just like, but homelessness is not always about that. Sometimes mental illness takes it another whole. All right.
Yeah.
So when I go to do a buy, my product, the sensory, the feel of the dollar and the high from meth gets locked in my brain. Okay. Locked, the pathway, locked in my, wired in my brain. The feel. If I'm in a trap house or wherever I'm doing my deals, the smell of the money and the smell of the product wired in my brain. The smell of the product wired in my brain. Okay.
Right.
Sight. Make a long story short, I'm now at Burger King 5 years later. 5 years later. Getting the Whopper meal, flame broiled burger, sesame seed bun. Anyway, go to reach for my money, but this is the same muscle memory that I had when I went to do my buy. This is the same muscle memory when I went to do my buy, and the memory keeps score. The muscle memory keeps score. Hint, hint. Someone who's been fondled with at 6, 7, and 8. And then we say, oh, you're a freak. But the memory keeps score. Anyway, so now I dig in my pocket, I get the money out. The feel of the money. Whew. I've been clean for 5 years. Whew. The feel, the smell, the sight of the money. And I swear to goodness, before I even get my change back, I think I just tasted meth in the mouth. And now I'm ready to get a hit.
Yep.
We have to take those things into consideration. We think we just snap out of a problem, just let it go. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps, just let it go. You can. In many cases, you have to. Absolutely. You have to. It is non-negotiable. Coach K, I don't know how many friends you have and how many family members you have. How many people can you call right now to bail you out if you were in jail? How many people could, not only would they be willing, but they have the resources to bail you?
I'd have some people, I'm sure.
Okay. We won't know until we get down there, right? To the jail. But
Right.
if we're one of those people that we give, do you have the equal amount of people who give back? Do you have the equal amount of people who give back? Because if not, you get into that belief system of it's unfair, people don't treat you fairly, you're treated this way. But who asked you to do all that extra stuff? Who asked you to do all the extra that you do? And where did you believe that someone was going to do it in return for you? So sometimes you do have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and handle your business because no one else will do it for you. In the animal kingdom, the lion, when he has a plug bitten out of him, he can't take care of his 5 women. Survival of the fittest. You stay laying on that ground. Oh, woe is me. Ooh, oh, woe is you can stay down there. Trauma has you down there. Life experiences has you down there. You don't want to be traditional anymore. You're gonna change in the way. Okay, you can do all that if you want to. You can let the kids have a voice because you didn't have a voice. Have so much of a voice that they can curse and let them express themselves. Right? Tell you to go screw yourself. Oh, let it out. Question is that really about the kid having the opportunity to express themselves, or is it about your desire to give what you think that you didn't get, and now you're going to give it back? And does it, what happened to you 20 years ago, does it still apply? Does it apply for the kids now? Because when the kids back 20 years ago, they said hi, Mr. and Mrs. Kids now, you're saying you're going to allow them to say screw you and F you and not even say hi, Mr. or Mrs. or anything like that. That's cool. But I want you to see the potential for chaos because that kid didn't learn how to get, that kid didn't learn. Just the formula.
That's so true.
Abel said they're triggered. Triggered about what? What did I say? Grooming reviews, huh? Doc, did you say there's a heart covering the screen? I can't see, or the little emoji.
Said, Doc, did you say 9, huh?
No, I said 8, but then you said you're on the East Coast, and I said, well, Central Time. Central. We wrap it up at 9, man. We're out of here in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But come on, Emmy, come on up. You have the link? What did Beautiful Animator say? I say, what does disability look like? What does mental illness look like? Everybody being able to visualize, spot these people in the movies and TV shows is not in real life. I agree with you 1 billion%. We can't see mental illness. And you know what's kind of sucky is we project and then we start saying what we think it is and start talking about how people should deal with it, how they should manage what they should do and what they shouldn't do. And Coach K, even me, I can't tickle myself. I can help a billion people in front of me. and try and apply that same stuff to myself. If I'm saying trauma causes you to be hijacked, your reasoning and your ability to do things is hijacked when you're going through a traumatic episode. If I go through a traumatic episode, how am I going to be able to use that same reasoning? Can we really use the same methods that we teach others? Can we absolutely 1,000,000,000% do it for ourselves? And there's a difference between intervention, intervening in something. Oh, I done got started now. Let me stop. I got started. Let me stop. But I say if you got to the point where you're intervening, you might already be too late. Interventions are awesome. You want to have interventions. But by the time you got to the engaged in the intervention that you have to stop, where there's some steps you could have done earlier to help you so you don't even get in the situation where you have to intervene.
Right.
Grooming and reviews 101. What's up? Coach K, did you have anything to say before we switch over to grooming and reviews?
No. We can go ahead. Yeah.
All right. See,
What's
like
on,
that.
guys? How's everybody
Hey,
doing?
how you doing? Grooming and
Pretty good,
reviews.
pretty
I want to ask you a quick question just before you jump in. I'm going to ask you a
Go
quick
for it.
question, please. So on one end, I want my co-host to feel involved. And then when I say to my co-host, go, and she says, no, you go. And I say, well, what do you think? She says, no, what do you think? And then, so what do you think the dilemma is? Not for my co-host, but like, what do you think the potential is, the problem?
I think you guys are butting heads at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys are.
But why?
Because you guys both want the both thing, but you're not communicating correctly.
Mm-hmm. I like when you say that. What I was told one time, a long time ago, I heard someone say, like, oh, it makes sense. Sometimes, especially in the co-host situation, we both are extending pleasantries. We both are extending courtesies. And at the same time, courtesies and pleasantries. And then one feels like, well, I'm trying to, no, I want you to be able to know why I want you to. Then we feel we're competing. We feel like we're not listening to, well, why don't you? And why don't you? We are competing. And so the reason I bring that up is because we open the channel and say, hey, come on up. People didn't come up, but then they light up sometimes in the chat, all of these different comments, and say, oh no, I want someone else to go up, and let someone else go up, and let someone.
Here's my theory behind this about
Yeah.
stepping up like this. It takes a lot of cojones to get on camera and do this.
True.
I remember the very first time I wanted to start my channel. I was just Grooming Reviews 101. I've been talking about it for a whole year. So my best friend, he has a channel called Pop Culture Warrior. Anything anime, culture-wise, he's your man. Anyway, he goes, dude, stop being a goddamn pussy and do it. Jack Worthy said to me. I go, all right, Mike, you've been shot 13 times. Literally, he's been shot 13 times in Iraq. I'm like, you can say that. I can't. I haven't been not even shot once. Right. He goes, if you don't do it, you're never going to do it. So I just did it. And I love it now. I'm addicted to it. It's like, come on. Doc, give me a shot. Come on, Doc, give me a shot. I'm like, that's how much I like it. Like, my Motivation Mondays are about something that happened my week prior. So, like, grinding silent was my last week. Why do we grind silent? Because we want to earn something out of it. We maybe not realize it mentally. Again, I might not using the right technical terms like you guys do, but we want to get, promotions. We want to get acknowledged for our hard work, but we just shut up and just grind to it.
Right.
And I stepped up. I literally put my boss like he was hurting. I want to get promoted. I go, and I took the balls. I go like, when are you going to actually man up and promote me finally? And he wanted to. His boss said no. I got cock blocked pretty much. That's fine. At least I put myself out there and says, you know what? Let me try this. If I didn't try it, I wouldn't know. Hey, if I don't take a shot, worst case scenario is I shoot blinks.
Right.
Or I hit a target. And I hit a target, but the target didn't bounce back, unfortunately. And it happens. But at least I took the chance. A lot of people are scared to take the chance or shy. I have somebody I know personally, and I don't want to put her name out there, but she always in my chat. She's always doing this, doing that, but she will never get on camera. She told me that straight up. She will never get on a mic. I don't feel comfortable. She goes to me. That's fine. That's okay too. Because that's I think that's a lot of your any viewers, even mine, yours, BMU, anybody. A lot of people don't feel comfortable being on camera. And it's okay. Okay, like Cody, actually, I see him all the time in the chats. I see him on camera, never. I see him, on a mic once in a while, but I have never seen him on a camera. I don't think he's comfortable with it, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Huh. Now I have. Did your mic cut out? Oh, you stopped. Okay, you paused. I have a challenge, and I'm going to write a word down. And we'll see if we, the game of concentration, we'll see if I guess the same thing you are going to say.
You do know I speak two languages, right?
Yeah. Right. The addicting part, and Coach K and I were just talking about that earlier. Like, man, the sensory and stuff. I've realized more and more that people who are doing stuff like this, providing content, and then we have this access to provide content, like they really get into it. Like, wow, yes. And I also observe those who really get like aggressive on the shows and people who don't. And what I find out is the same thing that happens in real life happens sometimes on the YouTube channel. And there's an ingredient or part of the formula that they don't speak to. Can you think of a time when you first knew that you wanted to be on camera or have someone hear your perspectives? When would you say is the first time you can really remember that? How far back in your life can you remember that?
That's actually a very funny one. Very funny. Backstory, man. Some of you guys know this, and I think I mentioned to you on your channel before, on your show. I have martial artists. Also, I have a third degree black belt, 4-time grand champion. The first time I wanted to do something different, unique, is when I became a black belt. The first time going through my black belt test was the most painful thing, and I mean painful. My uniform wasn't white; it was red for a reason when I was done. So ever since then, I wanted to do something unique.
Nice.
Okay. I know you guys touched base on religion a little bit, and that's the biggest reason why I want to jump on here so much today. But I felt I have my own beliefs in religion a little bit. One of the reasons is yes, God show us a purpose, but I also believe He gives you two choices: choice B or A. It's your destiny to pick which one you want to go with. He's not going to pick it for you. You're going to make the decision. Which one you want? A is going to be a bumpy road and hard, or B, a very smooth road, but it's not going to be a lot of rewards in the end. I'll take the bumpy roads because those challenges in the world, and please correct me if I'm wrong, those challenges mold us who we are.
I agree. And that's what Abel was saying earlier, certain experiences, they mold us. But do we know that, like, do we pick those so we can be molded like that?
No, it picks us.
Right.
Those challenges might happen. Good example. 10 months ago, the love of my life dumped me and she broke up with me, over things we couldn't control. Okay.
Yeah.
That made me stronger. When I was first about this, I was like, I couldn't even talk about it. I was like crying. I like any woman I talked to. The worst part about it, the first time I kissed her was outside my window. I'm looking at the window, like everything reminded me. Every time I saw a white Highlander, I thought that was her. Yeah. It was like literally I was going paranoid. Yeah. And I realized like he's not going paranoid. What I was told by a professional, it was like you're just missing her that much. You were with her for 3.5 years. During COVID, you guys woke up together, you went to work together, and you went to bed together for 2 years. And the other 1.5 years, you guys lived together. So this is kind of normal, actually.
Yeah.
But those things that mold you, how I explain it is like a ice sculpture. You take the hammer and you sculpt it away. Those things in life sculpt you, make you become a different person, like a phoenix.
Nice.
You're part of my journey or my roadblock. Which one are you? I always tell people, if you're part of my journey, buckle up. You're gonna have a bumpy ride. If you're
Right.
part, if you're part of a roadblock, I'm gonna run your goddamn fucking ass over. I don't care who you are.
Mhm.
Nothing's gonna stop me. Only
Right.
way stopping me is death.
So, but that part right there. But what if that's causing you problems in life? Like, if you're just steamrolling things or you don't care, what if that's causing you problems? Would you be willing to change?
Yes. Okay. So when I was younger, I was very hot-headed. I mean, very hot-headed to the point like you couldn't even argue with me. Like I put my hand right through a wall before I even argued. That's how hot-headed I was. I learned how to control my temper.
Right.
Partial was therapy. The other half was going to church, believe it or not.
Okay.
That those two combinations helped me.
Mhm.
And I learned keeping things inside, bottled up, one layer after the other. What eventually is going to happen? It's going to blow
Right.
up, and that was
Yeah.
me. Keeping things inside is not always healthy. I learned that. Like as men, like we're tough guys. We don't want to talk about this.
Right.
I said that. Fuck you. I'm going to talk about my feelings. I don't care about crying on a man's shoulder, a woman's shoulder, a hug, whatever.
Right.
Makes me less than a man, and it makes me more than a man. I can talk about it.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say I know it'll make you less than man.
Yeah, but people do
Okay.
think like that.
Well, Coach, so this formula idea, what do you think one of the pieces that has led grooming and reviews to the point where he's at? What do you think one of the pieces part of the formula is, based on what he said? What would your guess be?
I would say it seems like how you've managed to, I guess, you've managed your perspectives or your perceptions about what has gone on either to you or around you.
Mhm.
Where you've like dealt with the things head on. But I mean, I would say a bunch, but I don't, because I would have to see, because we've talked about a lot, Dr. Nakumbe.
Right.
But if there were specific
there's
pieces,
several pieces.
if there were
Right.
specific pieces of the formula, but I mean, it sounds like a bunch of them too. Also, not like running away from the things, because I would say trying to suppress your feelings is a way of not dealing with things. So I mean, there's been a bunch.
Well, this is what I was thinking. That
Tell me what you think.
grooming and reviews, when I see your excitement, like when I see you on panels and I hear you speak and you're giving your input, and then especially when I hear it flow, like it's not a, well, can I get some time? It's a here's my belief, like it or not. I'm not up here to kiss ass. You don't have to accept. But what I think it also is, and I'd already written it down, and this is a good thing, like I said, because we can find ways to resolve certain things by taking that step. This will be part of that pull yourself up by the bootstraps. This will be part of that once you're aware. Once you're aware, we don't live our traumas, right? We are not our traumas. But what I wrote, and I hope I can.
Does it start with an F?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. You saw it?
Nope. Just I want to see if
it's not working. I wrote it. I swear to God, I wrote it.
You and your folds, I swear.
I don't know how many years I've had. But anyway, it said, let me see if I can get it again.
My husband has that too, I swear.
Let's see. Nope. Anyway, what I wrote is not feeling heard. Younger years, and now you are heard. And part of that steamroll, Phoenix roll is like, yeah, I'm not going to be that quiet kid anymore. I'm not going to be that shut down kid anymore. I'm not going to be that. I get to be heard too.
That's actually hits right on the nail. Good example, like when I was struggling in school because I have a reading and spelling disability. When I was asking for help from my parents, again, it's not my parents' fault because they grew up in Greece. So education is completely different down there. So when I was asking for help, they didn't understand. I think I was being lazy. I didn't want to do my homework. And when they actually diagnosed me, hey, you actually have a learning disability at 12th grade. before I was going to graduate in my senior year. And I'm like, gee, thanks. Now a little bit too late.
Mhm.
And I was screaming at the top of my lungs at that point, like, I need help. And people didn't realize that. And getting bullied from a different country didn't help. Because I was trying to tell people I need help. I don't understand how to cooperate in this environment I'm in. Definitely in New York, it's a completely different world. They'll eat you up alive. Like I was getting dressed differently, like, you know, like the way what we think is normal now is not normal back in the late 90s, early 2000s. If you're not wearing baggy pants and your ass is not hanging out halfway, you're not cool. Definitely in the school system.
Right.
And it was tough growing up, coming from a different country. It was very tough. Now I look back, and that made me the man I am. But if I didn't go through the stuff, learning experiences, in other words.
What I can tell too is not only that, you know, your voice and being heard, but I almost sense you hearing your own voice too. Like you're being heard by you.
That's a catch-22. I don't mind hearing my voice as much. I feel weird when I hear my voice, actually, to be honest with you.
No, well, do you accept you? Like you're down with, like, you. Like, how's your relationship with you, for example?
It depends what we're talking about. If we're talking about how I look in the mirror, I hate how I look in the mirror. That's something I've been struggling all my life. But as my I know some things I'm very good at. Like if you ask me about hair, girl, I can tell you how to fix your hair 100 different ways. If you tell me about beard,
what you've overcome?
Oh yeah, I have come obstacles.
You're on fire with that.
Oh yeah, and I push that a lot on. I don't want to say push it on people. I try to use it as examples because I hear all the time. I work at a university now, and I hear kids all the time can't do this, and I just use my story as motivation for them.
You hear you, like you hear maybe even like younger you or whatever. And it doesn't, not in every area, because I would argue I don't think we'll always be love ourselves in every single area. Like I right there with you, but it seems like from what you've been through and what you've overcome, you do hear you, like you see you, like you got your own back. It seems like that makes sense.
Here's where I'm gonna push back a little bit and agree and disagree. Some things I have built a lot of confidence in. If you put me in the kitchen, I can outcook most chefs out there, and I'm cocky as shit when it comes to that. But some other things, like you tell me, put me in a bar situation, go talk to that cute girl across the hall, like I'm out the other way. And like that's something I never built confidence because I was never really put in that situation as much.
Just like being on camera at first.
Yes. And I'm building that confidence more and more. Like if you see my first videos to now, 9 day. Completely 9 day. Like I love being on, I hate saying being on camera, but I do like it because I'm expressing myself in a different way with strangers I don't know, and maybe it motivate or help somebody.
That's right.
So, but would you say, because I love what Coach K said, would you say part of that growth, like where I was before to where I am now, is because you saw your potential?
I won't say I saw it. People make me see it. My best friend Mike again. Like when I started this, I'm like, man, I said, man, my videos suck, bro. This and that. He goes, no, you just need time to work on it. It takes time. And as I'm seeing them now, even my intro, from when I first started my intro to now, I'm like completely different.
Right.
And like, yeah, I wish I had more subscribers and everything, of course. Like, who doesn't? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's like, and that's why I'm picking anybody's brain I talk to. Like, like I've been trying to, get BMU on the side to talk to him a little more because I know he knows his stuff. He's to pick the brain, see what can work for me. But it's nothing wrong getting advice either.
Right.
That's and I know we're at final thoughts, but I think that's an exciting part of just this work and growth. You could parallel it with physical health or anything, but when you start working on these things, you start building up almost a portfolio for yourself of things that you have improved at, or challenges you've overcome. So then when you're thinking of, because we're always going to have that voice in our heads like, yeah, you're doing good at this, but there's this thing over here that you're not so good at. But I will halt you, as I will with my clients, and be like, okay, but let's not forget that these things that you have, overcome, and these challenges, the same can definitely be true for the things that we're working on now, so just something to think
And I
about.
think everything you do in life is a work in progress. It takes time and effort, and it is not going to be done in 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 2, 20, and it's time. And that's one thing I lacked on patience. I'm not gonna lie. I think most men do. Like, I am horrible with patience. Like, I say, like, I want this now, right now. Like, I want the longest beard, long hair, all this stuff now. I keep forgetting, like, beard grows a half an inch in a month, and so I need to be very patient if I want a 6-inch
That's a good
beard.
lesson.
Yeah. And this is one thing I told actually somebody recently. If you want to learn patience, grow a beard. Grow a beard. I'm that serious. Like Doc.
Yeah, because it's ugly for a while, right? I mean, it's uncomfortable.
So, okay, if you're not using the right products, like here we go, like beer oil, for example, or butter, or the right wash and stuff like that, you're asking for trouble. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you use the shampoo on your head on your beard, you're asking for trouble. But if you moisturize it with the right stuff, oil, the right wash, the right beer butter, all this stuff, because the Simbi oil is going to, when it processes your skin, it's not gonna be enough. It needs more of it, and that's where beer oil comes in. So when you're growing out, I can go hours and hours and hours.
No, don't, because
I know.
My husband's in the military, but he tries to grow a beard when he doesn't have drill for a while.
Check out.
So that's a whole other thing.
Channel. Check out the channel.
No, I don't like when he has a beard.
What's your channel? What is it?
It's literally my name is Grooming and Reviews 101.
Grooming Reviews 101 is the channel. Grooming review underscore, right? Isn't it an underscore?
Yeah, let me see if I can I put.
Let me see. I was looking at one of your messages. I think there's an underscore. I think. So grooming, GROOMING.
Yeah, I'll put it right in the comments right now for you guys.
Perfect. And then and AND, no underscore. Grooming AND Reviews 101.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I always put my email in almost my videos. I've been doing that lately. Like, anybody wants to reach out to me on the side, ask any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. If I don't, I'll find the answer.
Nice.
So it's something that I love and I enjoy is helping. That's what I've been put on earth for. I help.
That's amazing.
Nice. Yeah. I want my beard to grow. I want to be like Hank. I want to be like,
we can get you there, brother. We can get you there. But first
thing, Nicole's fatty struggle beard.
Yeah.
So
I'm using Jasmine says it all. I think Jasmine says it all. She has skin care that she does, and then the beard oil and stuff. That's my first time really kind of getting into it. And beard wax or beer butter, whatever thing. Like,
beer butter, yeah. So beer butter, you have to get a certain length like mine. If you can pinch it like that, you're definitely at the length. I got to see what the ingredients are on it. Can I tell you if it's good or not? Like, I see a bunch in the store, like Jack.
Yeah.
Worse stuff for your beard. Worse stuff. There's some stuff like Honest Amish. Great stuff for it. What was that? Chemo. That's a good one. The only thing I don't like about that company, they don't make it themselves. It's a third party that makes it and they label it. So that's the downfall. Okay. But a lot of this stuff,
I don't know her ingredients. I don't remember off the top. But I mean, it was good. Where is she at? If you ever see her site, Jasmine says it all. I have to think of her shop. But anyway, it was my first time really like, I thought you just brush it and comb it.
No, that's what I thought too. If you asked me several years back, like, just throw the razor away, brush it, and call it a day. Like, it's a lot more homework than I thought it was. Like,
okay. Well, listen,
that's a good metaphor.
Yeah. You have any final
thoughts? Hair out. It's not like it's gonna be like in one day. It takes time. I'm sorry, that's what you're saying.
Well, when my hair balls up, it grows in little beady balls. So you got
curls.
Yeah. See, look at you. Yeah. No, I don't have all that going on up there.
So with the curls, we're gonna probably have to put you
Yeah,
on.
but hold on, we done got you excited now about all this hair stuff. Hold on, because what about in the or we'll talk about it. We'll just say we'll get into it. Because let's do final thoughts on this particular topic. But again, please go over to grooming.
Yes.
Groom and Reviews 101. If also to talk about the hair stuff and the hair products, I can see how rich yours is and how groomed it is.
Like I said, guys, like I only do a grooming and reviews. I do motivation. I do some other stuff too. I'm adding some more days into it. If you're into motivation, definitely check out Motivation Monday. I don't ever miss Motivation Monday. It is a big part of my channel.
Am I already subscribed to you? Let me go over there now. Let's see if I'm subscribed to you. All right. Any final thoughts, sir, on tonight's show? I know you wanted to come up earlier to capture that part about faith. Any other final thoughts about this idea of that it takes is more than just one situation? It doesn't take. There's usually more than one thing involved in the situation. And we should look at as much of the formula as possible so we can make informed decisions or choices that we make to respond to it, so we can have better chances at healing or resolving, and not just healing this one piece of it and leaving this other piece and then repeating behaviors.
I know this is sound very, very cliche. Take a step back, take a deep breath, and process the situation before you open your big mouth and say something stupid. I know I'm known for that. But if you take a situation and you diagnose it, take a few days, maybe a week, 2 weeks, and then come back and talk to the person. What they do that bother you? It might be your wife. That may save your marriage. Might save a relationship. Might save a friendship because you took a step back and thought about it. You might say, "Oh, this is not me. It's them." It might be a toxic person to your life. You might just have to get them out of your life, and that's okay if you have to walk away from the person. But take time and process it correctly first before you jump into a situation you don't want to be in.
Okay, but so just a quick question, just quick. What if I don't feel I don't know how to wait? Like I can't. I have to. We have to talk about it now. We have to process now. I need to feel right before the night's over. How do I get that power back if I'm taking a break because I don't want to say the wrong thing?
That's a tricky one because you want to be in control so bad. As an alpha male, we all want to be in control as men.
Right.
But that will
let me capture that. So those listening and Coach K, did you see how because I heard grooming reviews talk about the ability to take a break, to step back, to not give into the fight. But then notice the other ingredient involved in the fight is feeling respected, and especially if we want control, and if we're an alpha. 3 totally different ingredients that might impact our ability to actually step back. So in addition to what grooming and reviews was saying, like absolutely pause. You know how they say write that email but don't send it, right? So grooming and reviews is saying just wait a second, make sure that's what you really want to say. Take a day or two, let it breathe, let it get some air. But then also be ready to address your ability to not feel in control. Be ready to address the resistance, be able to resist the urge to speak again, the urge to fight, the urge to be right.
To get the last word in.
While you're taking that break.
I can use a good example. My ex, she was the one that wanted to get that last punch in. She was always right. It was an age difference. It was 10 years difference. So she felt like she was always right because of that age difference. And she learned the hard way, like it's not always what it looks like. Sometimes you do need to take 10 minutes, walk away from the situation. Go for a walk, take the dog and walk. I mean, because it could save a relationship. I believe Bass said was more important, your relationship or being right. I'll pick my relationship. I'll suck at my pride anytime.
Right. Yeah, that's a
good
one.
That's good.
Relationship or pride.
Yeah, listen, as chefs, I met so many chefs. They always want to be right. They always want to be control. Is a power thing. When you have the title of chef, it's an ego thing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him like, this is gonna fail. 10 minutes later, he's huffing and puffing, throwing things, and he goes to me, "You Greek bastard, you're freaking right." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know I was right. I've done it before. That's why."
Right.
But he didn't want to listen because the ego got in the way, and that's the other thing. Your
ego. Oh yes.
And I do have a video on that too, by the way. You guys should check it out, Doc. You like it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I do
Yeah,
go
we
to
should,
channel.
we
I
should talk about that
subscribe.
too.
Yeah, I just subscribed. I like that. What you call reverse? What's like? I see that gray and white, not gray and white, but the reverse skin color, whatever the thing is called. You know what I'm talking about? That picture is in the middle. Do you have the power to breed off?
Oh, when I was messing around, do you have the power?
Yeah. So
yeah,
the reverse.
Oh, it's like
image, whatever that
invert.
is. Yeah, invert. I like that. I like that.
I believe I did a God of War music background. Like, and everybody's keep pushing me. Do the shorts. But shorts take a lot more.
Right.
To read,
I like that.
We talked about this, Dr. Nakumbe.
Yeah, we did.
It's a lot,
right.
but
right.
But just like
hey, listen, I want to be fair to the engineers in the back. They volunteer their time, and I know we normally get out here about 2 hours. I thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and especially for being patient and adjusting the time, because I was saying 8, 7 New York time, Central time. So thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, like always.
Okay, boss. Well, we'll catch you around on one of the channels.
Yes, everyone subscribe.
Yes. Grooming reviews. Thank you. 101. Add the 101. All right, Coach K.
Yes.
Any final thoughts? Final thoughts.
I would say, well, definitely listen to the replay, listen to this back. And when we think that there's one way to a situation, question what are the outcomes? What are the options here? What could happen if we don't do something? Or, lay it all out and consider what could happen and what the worst thing that could happen may not even happen. But yeah, everything that Dr. Nakumbe broke down, this was all so good. But also, I just want to remind everyone, I'm about to start reminding everyone at the end of all the shows, gratitude. So easy, especially in self-help or self-improvement, to think about all the things we got to work on, all the things that we need to get or we need to achieve, but we forget about the here and now and the things that are not only that we created that are amazing, but also just what we have. Even if it's just a roof. Seriously, it's about to get cold outside. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to live in this apartment, but I'm just glad I have a warm place to stay. So there's a lot of crap and evil going on, but there's a lot of good too. So that's it.
I love it. I love it.
How about you?
That one is huge. The gratitude, because we could actually manage with less, being thankful for the very little. Right. So that one is huge.
So much negativity everywhere, all the crappy people, whatever. But what are we grateful for? What are the things that are really good, So.
Well, cool. I mean, I feel like I babbled throughout all the show with all the different points of views, but please remember, these are just options. Only just options. If they work for you, great. Try them. Try them all out to see what fits best for you. Are you able to sit and process? Are you able to sit in silence? Do you feel you need to be heard? What style, what way can you feel heard without being abusive? What ways can you get your point across? But are you even making your point, or was it really something else and you're missing the mark? Many people don't feel heard because they're not even expressing what the true problem is. They're talking about the surface or the situations, and not really some of that core stuff, as Coach K was saying earlier about the roots. If we're not getting into that, but not every conversation has to, start with the roots. And every conversation, sometimes it's want to deal with what's on the surface. Cool.
Right.
But at some point, it doesn't have to be in the situation. At some point, we invite you to have that sit down. If not, those things start to build up, the dislike, the hatred, the anger, and then that just becomes our go-to, anger, go-to of disappointment. So just do better, be better, do better. Please, if you're listening to the replay, leave a comment. Also, let us know, and all of you who are listening now and on the replay, please leave a comment on the different topics that you'd like to hear about, for us to talk about, things that you would like to come up on the panel about. Remember, our goal is to talk about mental health and breaking those cycles and busting those myths because you can better. We can all be better. We can all do better. Sometimes it's just a matter of knowing, like, oh, wow, I never thought about it that way. So we want to invite those type of conversations, right? And not, I mean, we'll have some fun and some entertainment, but our goal is to really deal with the behind the scenes stuff, the mentality, the psychology. And remember, therapy is not the only way. And Coach, you said it earlier, and I didn't jump on it when you said some people don't know their goals. And I always think of coaching as one of those solid methods that say, hey, okay, Coach, help me draw up a plan. So I know at least what the heck I where I need to go, how I need to go, what I should do first. And sometimes I do know, but I need that confirmation. Right? I don't know if you ever had that, Coach, where it's like you just said 2 sentences. And like, oh my gosh, yes, that's what. Like, you had it all along.
Yes, exactly. I love those moments.
Yeah.
Like, well, there you go.
A shout out again to the Black Man Unfiltered Network, BMU. Thank you so much for having this for the community. CBN and Alexis from Texas, thank you so much for doing what you do behind the scenes. Make it that's part of the formula of making it work, huh? We're just sitting up here, Coach K and I, with our money makers and stuff, but really behind the scenes is what they to keep us up here. Our audience, thank you so very much. Abel, thank you for your comments tonight. I'm glad you caught out the trigger part and was able to help manage that. Truly, I want to say condolences. Salute to you for overcoming that challenge that you talked about that was triggering. So salute to you for being able to endure and get through it. Bass and others who were here. Dragonfly Jones, I want to give a shout out. Hey, thank you for swinging through. Again, I want to give a shout out to my friends. Oh yeah, lost in translation. Did we give a my bad if I did not. My bad if I didn't. And the Deseds were here.
Yes.
Shout out to the Deseds. So thank you so very much for everyone's content and comments. Please leave a like. Please press the like button if you have not already. And if you have not subscribed and you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button. We really want to grow this part of mental health. We want to get out there and help as many people as we can with mental health issues or concerns, behavioral health issues and concerns. And so we're here for it. Take advantage of it. Get it. Spread the word. So
sounds good.
All right, Coach. Always an honor. Take care of yourself.
Likewise.
Bye,
You also. Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.